On a Monday afternoon in April, students in Dr. Catherine Schaefer's Introduction to Nursing course gathered at the Tuttleman Center. With just a couple of weeks left in the semester, they would take the lessons learned from a course designed to prepare pre-nursing students to transition into professional nursing education and make presentations about a working nurse that their team chose to profile. To hear Dr. Schaefer tell it, the assignment's purpose was to inspire those just starting out by seeing nurses who looked like them to show them there is a place for everybody in the field. Among those profiled were advocates for racial integration in nursing in the 1900s, as well as a young nursing student from Liberia who, during the Ebola outbreak, helped redefine patient care and provider safety under difficult circumstances. It was an eye-opening experience, which was exactly the point not only of the assignment, but of the nature of the course itself. While everybody in the class will not go on to Jefferson's College of Nursing, those that do will have a well-rounded educational base to start their journey, and it's a journey for which the college has recently launched a Nurse Accelerator Leader initiative to bolster education for working nurses who want to expand their breadth of knowledge into leadership roles. Those two vignettes serve as bookends to a lifelong learning mindset which drives Jefferson nurses to be the best they can be. With National Nurses Week upon us from May 6th to the 12th, this episode of the Thomas Jefferson University News podcast will focus on the students looking to get into the field, as well as those who designed the Accelerator program to further bolster the college's impressive mission. First, let's hear from a trio of students about inspirations gleaned from their introductory course and the energetic professor who deftly shepherds them into the field of nursing.
My name is Amaya Rivera. I'm from Belmar, New Jersey. I am a fourth-year health sciences major, and after graduation, I will enroll in Jefferson's one-year accelerated BSN program.
I'm Karina Salas Romero. I'm from here in Philly. I am currently a health sciences major with a minor in medical Spanish.
When asked about their paths to the Intro to Nursing course and what got them interested in the topic to begin with, Amaya spoke about a lifetime of being exposed to the healthcare world.
Growing up, my mom worked in a hospital. She worked in patient relations, so not quite a nurse, but still that hospital feel and environment. I remember going to visit her at work, seeing all the nurses and all their colorful scrubs and different doctors and just meeting different healthcare staff. My aunt and I are only 8 years apart, so we're more like sisters than we are aunt and niece. And she went through nursing school. I was her at-home study patient, asking her, quizzing her questions. She would just point and say, hey, read this question to me. Let me know if I get it right. Can I practice this on you? And me being my little 10-year-old self, I was like, this is so cool. All this science stuff, you're bringing all these tools home. So that kind of sparked the fire. And then I've always just been fascinated with science and math. That's always been my kind of realm when it came to school. I love talking to people, meeting new people, interacting and caring for others. When I first started at Jefferson, I thought I wanted to be a doctor. Originally, I started out as a pre-medical studies major. Around my sophomore year, I realized I think I want more of that patient one-on-one contact, which nurses get a lot more of. And then just seeing my aunt's journey and everything that she was accomplishing within her career and everything, I got to talking with my advisor and I was like, hey, I think I want to make this switch. Nursing seems like what I want, something that is going to suit me really well. When I knew for sure this is my thing, this is what I want, my mom had my little brother when I was 13, and this kind of influenced me to make that switch. When my brother was born, my mom had a lot of post-labor and delivery complications, and I just so happened to be in the room when everything started going haywire. I will never forget, I wish I knew her name. There was a nurse in the room who wasn't working on my mom or anything. I'm assuming she saw the terrified look on my face. She came and she sat with me, and she brought my newborn baby brother over to me, and she just reassured me that the nurses and the doctors were all going to do everything that they could for my mom. Fortunately, mom and baby both made it out healthy and home the very next day. But that always stuck with me because that wasn't her job. She didn't have to sit there and make sure and accommodate for, oh, my patient's daughter. I wasn't there for that. I wasn't there for all the attention and things of that nature. So being able to be that for somebody else one day, while not only caring for patients, but everything else that comes along with it, is definitely what kind of encapsulated for me. Nursing is what I want.
For her part, Karina said that her personal medical experiences sparked her interest into checking out nursing, along with being inspired by her friend Amaya.
Growing up, I was always the medically expensive child. I wasn't premature or anything like that. I grew up with a weaker immune system. I was always in and out of the hospital getting different kinds of surgeries, which at the time, I don't remember because I was so young when it all happened, but I always had that want to play nurse. Whenever my dad would get like a cut and he's always working with his hands, I'd be like, Dad, I got you. I'm your nurse. I'm your nurse. I'm Nurse Karina. So I'll run upstairs, get hydrogen peroxide and some band-aids, throw it over his cut, some Neosporin, put it on, be like, there you go, all better. And it would just be for like the smallest paper cut that didn't even draw any blood. Throughout my life, that's just what I would do. When it was time to come decide for colleges, my older sister decided that she wanted to get into nursing, which threw me off because all our lives we were just getting compared to one another. So I was just like, okay, she decided she wanted to do nursing, so I can't do nursing. So I was like, I want to do better than her. And so I also signed up for Jefferson as a pre-med major. And I realized that's not what I want to do. That's not me. That's not who I am as a person. I ended up switching majors. Then I met Amaya actually in my junior year. We've had classes together before, but we never actually became friends until junior year. After that, we kept talking about her want to be a nurse and like her drive and her passions. And it really inspired me to rethink what I want to do. She was like, oh, you should definitely take intro to nursing with me, like to see if that'll like re-spark like that want to actually do nursing. All I want to do in life is just take care of people and help others.
What are your biggest takeaways from the Intro to Nursing class?
When we're being lectured, it's not so much Dr. Schaefer reading the slideshow at us and just expecting for us to understand all the different terminology and just automatically know, oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Rather, she gives us real life scenarios and examples and even things and stories from when she was a nursing student, when she first started out working as a nurse, even the structure of our quizzes and things like that. She tells us ahead of time, hey, this is going to be structured as if you were taking a quiz when it comes to question style or exam style when you proceed on to nursing school, especially for me that I know that is in my very near future, starting in the next few weeks. It's been incredibly helpful. It'll be something like, okay, this is a little familiar. I remember the baseline of things. We've learned so many different aspects when it comes to nursing of not only being at the bedside, but also at a community level, how can you be involved as a nurse? Or at an educational level, how can you be involved as a nurse? And there's so many different realms that I think a lot of people, when they hear the term nurse, they think of blue scrubs in a hospital. The truth is, there is so much more to nursing besides that. Of course, you have nurses who are working in a hospital, but you have nurses that are working in schools, they're working at clinics, they're working at outpatient centers. You have travel nurses that are traveling either from home to home or they're traveling across the country with different assignments and things of that nature. This course has really opened the doors for it and helps you open your mind because sometimes, like, I even came into it thinking of, oh, I think I want to be a labor and delivery nurse working with mom and baby, but the reality is there's so much out there. I don't know if that's where I'm going to end up one day. I could go through clinical rotations, and especially after learning all the different specialties and things that we've gone over, and my mind can change from here to a year from now when I graduate nursing school. The course does a really good job at showcasing, hey, this is everything that nursing has to offer. It's not just what the common person thinks of when they hear the word nurse, and does a really good job of kind of just showing you, like, hey, just so you know, this is what you're signing up for. I feel like I've been prepared at the best that I can be and ready to tackle on that next chapter when it comes to nursing school.
Karina agrees wholeheartedly that the intro class provides an insightful, wide ranging view of careers in nursing.
In the first couple of classes, we talked about where we can find a nurse, what areas, locations in the healthcare field, like where can a nurse work, like where would they be, where will we be, like in our future. Hearing how there's more than one possibility, like how I was drawn to like the radiation and the radiography side of healthcare, how I can still do that as a possible oncology nurse or a radiation therapy nurse. I can still do these two things that I really did want to do. This course, it did help me redirect myself in the sense of, oh, okay, I wanted to do radiography, but I also want to do nursing. I can blend the two and I can continue on like with where I want to go, what I want to be, what I want to do. Dr. Schaefer really makes the course feel like very open and very comfortable and helping you see like your future as a nurse and as a healthcare worker.
Talk to me about the presentation you'll be presenting in class.
You were able to pick any nurse that you found interesting or insightful, anything of that nature, and just do a little bit of deep diving and figure out about like their personal background, their journey to becoming a nurse, things that they either created, organizations that they founded, and just what they attributed to the nursing world. My group chose a nurse who is from Puerto Rico. She established and co-founded the Nursing Association of Registered Nurses in Puerto Rico, and she published a lot of different dictionaries made specifically for nurses to help them with terminology throughout their nursing school and even after they graduated. Until we got to this project, I had no clue, first of all, that she even existed, and also too just how much the impact that she had, because birth control and women's reproductive health is a very taboo subject within itself, but also something that is extremely important, and something like the creation of a birth control program that's big and that's huge, especially at the time it was created. So this project has really allowed us to figure out where our passions stem from throughout the nursing field, because there's so many different aspects and essentially huge puzzle pieces that all create that one big puzzle of nursing. It's been a very fun project to interact with other classmates on.
Our group, we are going to present on Dorothea Dix. She was a nurse back in the 19th century. I loved her story so much because she didn't start out as wanting to be a nurse. She actually started out as a school teacher. She worked in her house and teaching children. Unfortunately, her grandmother passed away, which led her on a downward spiral. So she went abroad to Europe where she met some people who were involved in nursing reform, and they were working on advocating more for patients with mental illnesses. This was during the 19th century, so like American Civil War times. And at this time, Dorothea Dix, she was advocating for mental illness patients who ended up getting sent to jailhouses. This is before asylums were a thing. And all these patients, they were being punished and prosecuted for things that weren't their fault because they did have an illness. I personally connected with Dorothea Dix as just a person in general. I also suffer from mental illnesses that I feel like are not as well known in today's day and age, like in our time. It's not a topic that's necessarily highlighted in the nursing community. Mental health workers, we all should come together just to recognize and create a better healthcare system for those with mental illnesses.
Amaya and Karina were asked to summarize their experiences in the Intro to Nursing class. First, we will hear from Amaya.
It can be very intimidating when you're trying to even pick a course that says intro to something, especially when it's so niche, such as intro to nursing versus intro to health professions. That tackles a lot of different health professions out there, versus when you are picking, okay, I'm going to hone in on this one career field and just see. It can be a little scary, especially for me. At the time that I chose to take this course, I was in the process of doing nursing school applications. I had my interview. I think classes started, and like 2 weeks later, I had my interview for nursing school. So I was being lectured on all this stuff of what nurses do, going through an interview of, hi, I really want to be a nurse one day. You should let me into your program. It adds a lot of different, I don't want to say stress because it's not a stressful course whatsoever, but it just opens your eyes of, hey, like this is real and this is the reality of it. Even if nursing is something that it's just on the back burner for somebody, or they've always questioned it but haven't really ever given it much thought, it shows you so much more than just the day-to-day life of a nurse. You learn so much about the community levels of social determinants of health, and just how the impact of taking the time to even just talk to, let's say you end up in the medical field talking to your patients, or how you can even communicate yourself as a patient, and you learn how to advocate both as a future nurse and healthcare provider, but also from the patient side of things. You can understand, oh, why might a patient be standoffish or hesitant, and all the underlying factors of it. Although, of course, it focuses and hones in on what it is to be a nurse, you also learn a lot and gain a lot from the other side of it of, okay, this is why maybe the healthcare system is set up this way. What are things that maybe I think need change, or things that I would like to work on and find yourself being passionate of? You end up gaining a lot more than just finding out what it is to be a nurse.
Karina reaffirms how nursing really wasn't her target all along.
Nursing wasn't on my direct path, but it was always within my field of vision. Having a course that helps you get a better connection and explains what's going to happen within the field. And when she started going through everything with us, I felt more connected to nursing. And yeah, like this is something that I can definitely do for myself in my future.
Amaya and Karina's classmate, Haley Ward, is a third-year health science major from Delaware County. She took the Intro to Nursing course as she knows she wants to work in healthcare, but not specifically what area yet.
The professor is one of the sweetest that I've ever had. She's so supportive. It's obvious that she puts a lot of time and passion into her work. As for the content, it's really interesting and it gives me more perspectives on nursing. I really like different key points that she touches in the class, such as advocacy, policy, being emotionally supportive for your patients. I'm really interested in holistic medicine as well. I think all those things are really interesting and valuable. We learned about global health, which I thought was really interesting because previously I considered nursing to be locally focused, not so much globally, and how that all impacts each other, as well as environmental factors, and how you have to consider those things as well in your treatment and how you address one of your patients. Another thing that we talked about that I think relates to a lot of healthcare workers is innovation, trying to constantly improve the way that your profession functions and possible things that can be improved and worked on in new ways. One of my current goals is to be a midwife, so I need to become a nurse first. My advisor was like, you should definitely try to get into this intro to nursing class so you kind of get more insight on the profession. I really like the holistic side of it. There's a lot of emphasis on emotional health and mental well-being. It also has a focus on preventative medicine, which I also appreciate, trying to look at possible risk factors that your patient might be more prone to and seeing if there are any medications, supplements, procedures that can be done.
Since this episode is timed to National Nurses Week, what do you think the importance of nurses is? And what are you getting out of a Jefferson education that may give you a better leg up in the field should you choose it?
Going into medicine, I thought it was like strictly science and anatomy, and Jefferson really broadened my perspective as to all the different types of aspects that go into health and taking care of a patient. I knew it was a good medical school and science school. Initially, I wanted to be an obstetrician. I always was really interested in women's health. Obstetrician, medicine, Jefferson, it all just made sense. When I changed that, I still knew that I wanted to stay in medicine in some way, shape, or form.
Haley then referenced Dr. Schaefer's Beyond the Bedside lecture series, in which she interviews working nurses and shares those conversations as an educational tool for her class. There will be more coming up on that lecture series in a few minutes.
One of the nurses that she interviewed after she became a nurse, she went on to get her master's in public health. It's nice to know that even if I do pursue nursing and get my BSN, I'd still be able to pursue a master's further in my career, which I would need anyways because I'd need a master's in midwifery to become a midwife. It's made me more motivated. There's differing perspectives. There's some nurses that she interviewed that knew they wanted to be nurses like as soon as they were like born. And then there's other nurses that did not ever see that pathway for themselves. There was one nurse that I really appreciated. She mentioned how she failed a semester in nursing school, but she went back and then eventually passed her boards, which I thought was really nice just to reassure myself. It's also cool getting insights on more careers, even though I'm like 95% sure I want to pursue a career in women's health. It's cool learning more about like geriatrics and pediatrics and other mediums.
From the student's perspective, we move on to that of the professor about whom they spoke.
My name is Kathy Schaefer. I am an associate professor in the College of Nursing, and I'm also the director of innovation in the College of Nursing.
My first question is going to crib off of your intro to nursing class. Did you always know you wanted to be a nurse?
So actually, that's funny that you asked me that because after I had been asking nurses that question for a couple of weeks, I actually sat down and reevaluated what I thought was my path to nursing. So I never thought I'd ever be a nurse. I have a degree in fashion merchandising. As a matter of fact, I was like the wayward person until I finally found nursing. I like putting puzzle pieces together. I like looking at a problem and figuring it out my own way. So I always thought that after I worked in retail for a couple of years and wasn't really happy with helping people find their fashion style, that someone just haphazardly said to me one day, I think you'd make a great nurse. And I said, you know what? I think I would too. And I went to nursing school and I thought it was this major leap. But after I started working in nursing and I really thought about it, nursing is like putting puzzle pieces together, but only in real time. You don't have a set of directions that you can follow. You have to figure it out. So I think I was always meant to be a nurse, a different kind of nurse, but I'm not sure I knew that from the beginning.
What is the importance of inspiring future nurses in your role?
It has to do with having everyone believe that they can do anything that they set their mind to do. I have been a nurse educator for over 20 years. I've been a nurse for over 30 years. I have always said that nurses should not be put in a box. I tell my students, if you can dream it, You can do it because nursing is such a great foundation. So it's really important for me to help young people, even older people who might be changing their careers. It's really important for me to help them see you can do this. And if you want to help other people, because that's the essence of our profession, you could do it in many different aspects. So it's really important for me to see that you don't have to be a cookie cutter. This is a little controversial. For the longest time, we have only thought that Florence Nightingale was the first nurse. However, she wasn't. Monks back in the 500 BC were the really first nurses. And oftentimes people equate nursing to look like Florence Nightingale. It is not the actuality of what happened during that time. My whole goal currently today in 2025 is to have students who sit in my classroom see nurses who look like them, who have already paved the way for them. I do a lot of that with the students. I show them and I connect them to nurses who have paved the way for them. My first class, my first actual class, I walk my students through this ritual. It's called the kite exercise, where I have them draw, not write, they draw answers to different questions. And ultimately, we get to this one question: why do you want to be a nurse? For many of them, they have some connection that a family member, or they were young and a nurse took care of them, or a nurse took care of their family member and they were inspired. But some of them are first generation educated college students who want to look for a financial security. And that's not a bad thing. That's not something to be ashamed of. Yes, we are a trustworthy profession. It's okay if people, if that's their intention, is to have a secure future, right? To have a stable job. However, it's how you engage with someone on the care and life continuum makes you the difference between a profession and a job.
Have you seen students from your intro class end up being nurses at Jefferson? Because I think it's probably a unique situation.
Absolutely. I have the luxury of being on both campuses. I get to see them when they come after their sophomore year, entering first into our nursing program. I get to watch them walk across the stage and graduate. And then when our seniors are doing their capstones, where they're doing their one-on-one preceptorship in the last semester of their senior year, and I go and visit those students to see how they're doing, I actually get to see students who I taught graduated from our program working as staff nurses or in other areas in the hospitals around the city. So it is a full circle moment. And it's crazy because students will be like, Dr. Schaefer, and I'll be like, please don't call me Dr. Schaefer on the floor. Like, you can call me Kathy. Like, you and I are colleagues now. And if you keep me calling me Dr. Schaefer, people are going to think I'm old. So just call me Kathy.
As part of your class, you have a fun interview series of your own.
Faculty should always look at their feedback of what they could do to help their students, right, the next semester. So feedback in the fall for my students were, we wish we could talk to a real nurse. And I was like, what do you mean? I work, I'm a nurse. I also teach. And it was funny, but I knew what they meant. They wanted to talk to labor and delivery nurses and a nurse anesthetist and things like that. And that's not what I do. So I thought, it's a 75-minute class. It's on Mondays at 2:00. It's going to be really hard to get nurses to come in, even to Zoom for 10, 15 minutes, because the content's packed. Why not interview nurses so that students could listen to my conversations with nurses? I started out grassroots. I asked faculty at the College of Nursing who do practice and who are teaching, let me ask you questions. And I have a set direction of questions because it's really geared to help students transition from those gen ed courses into the rigor of nursing school. And I want them to be successful. So I want them to understand it takes time to study. It takes time for you to be dedicated. It takes time for you to really say, I don't know this content, and I have to go to my professor and I have to sit with them and they have to explain it to me over and over till I get it. Because that piece about not being successful your first time out is extremely important to me, because I was that student. I was not successful the first time I went to college, and there was no one to direct me. I was the youngest of 8 kids. My parents were much, much older. I had no one to direct me and even how to be successful in college. I was kind of left alone at 18 to figure it out on my own. So I know the shame of failure. I know the guilt of failing. I have kids of my own, and it took me a long time to be very honest with them that, hey, listen, I wasn't successful the first time I tried it out, but you know what? I learned really quickly that if I didn't know something, I had to ask for help. That was one of the pieces of having students understand. The other piece of this was that you just don't work at the bedside. Nurses work everywhere and we do everything. And I'm a nurse entrepreneur, so I have tons of friends who are actually building nursing products. So I wanted my students to see all of the avenues. And yes, the only avenue that they know of because of TV and what we put out there is that nurses only work at the bedside. But there are so many of us that are doing amazing things. And I wanted the students, again, to see themselves in other people.
Talk to me about the Nurse Leader Accelerator initiative.
It's really important for the start of my class to create foundational philosophies in nursing, what we do, how we do it. But one of the biggest philosophies for my students to understand, the foundational key piece is that lifelong learning is essential to be successful as a nurse. While that doesn't mean you have to get an advanced degree all the time, it's something that you should think about. So we have this accelerator program that helps nurses who have been in practice for a while to be able to continue that lifelong learning and advance their degree and take what they've learned at the bedside or in their leadership roles to couple it with this now degree leadership to actually help the enterprise be even more successful.
What Dr. Schaefer alluded to is the newly created Nurse Leader Accelerator initiative, which College Nursing Dean Marie Marino, EVP Connolly Foundation Chief Nurse Executive Kate Fitzpatrick, and peers from LVHN worked tirelessly to establish earlier this year.
I'm Marie Ann Marino. I'm the Dean of the Jefferson College of Nursing, and I'm also Vice President at Jefferson Health for Nursing Academic Partnerships and Innovation. This June, I will be at Jefferson for 7 years. This initiative really represents a turning point in our trajectory in nursing, and it's not just for our nurses, I would say, but for the entire Jefferson Health legacy and Lehigh Valley Health Network systems. We're launching this program, and it truly reflects the value and the power of nursing to lead systemic change in healthcare. Kate Fitzpatrick and I saw a unique opportunity as our two health systems came together to really align leadership, aligned culture, and vision across this newly integrated enterprise. We recognize that investment in our people would be the key in creating a unique cohesion and accelerating transformation within nursing. So this program is a strategic talent pipeline designed to really equip our nurse leaders to lead change across our newly formed system.
Where did the inspiration for this come from?
We truly believe, and we've witnessed during our tenure, that healthcare is facing rapid change. We really needed to invest in leadership that can navigate uncertainty and design the future of nursing. And we know that nurses are the backbone of healthcare. So we felt it important that nurses were also seen as architects of systemic integration and systemic change. Many nurses want to go back to school. They want to develop themselves as leaders, but sometimes that isn't always feasible financially, time-wise. So creating this program and the structure that we developed, it is a perfect opportunity for us to identify high-performing, aspiring, and executive level leaders that can really bring that education journey to the next level. The program launched this past January, but it was a journey. Kate's team selected 40 nurses, 20 emerging leaders who will pursue the MSN in Transformative Systems Leadership, and 20 advanced leaders who will earn their DNP in Executive Leadership. Each cohort was selected by their individual regional leaders, people that really know these nurses and know the potential and have recognized that potential. The great thing is that each cohort made up of Lehigh Valley Legacy nurse leaders and Jefferson Health Legacy nurse leaders, each cohort will move through the program together, forming professional bonds and speaking a shared language for leadership. And this is at no cost to the participants. Tuition is being covered by Jefferson College of Nursing, Jefferson Health, and our LVHN Legacy team. So we as nurses are really investing in the future.
Dean Marino harkens back to that day in January when they held an inspiring kickoff event with everybody involved in the initiative.
It was just an amazing day, and the synergies and the camaraderie that formed, I think, will really cement the relationships that will carry these cohorts through.
What's the message to aspiring students regarding this initiative if they're interested in getting into nursing at the onset?
At Jefferson College of Nursing, what differentiates us, and as we transition our graduates into health systems, I would say I'm particularly proud of the work that we do to transition our grads into Jefferson Health, that this is a testament to what we're trying to do when we develop nurses. We are trying to develop nurses to lead from day one, to be on a leadership journey, because healthcare needs really great nurses right now. And healthcare needs nurses that will lead teams, will lead at the bedside. And we need nurses to be leader ready when they step foot into their first professional role. Having an initiative like this is really a testament to what we're trying to build here. And that continuum between academic nursing and clinical nursing is really cemented with a program like this. And I'm really proud of what we're building here. This initiative reflects our belief that leadership development is one of the highest forms of patient advocacy. When we have nurses that are interfacing with our patients should know that we are invested in the trajectory of our nurses. We want to bring the best to healthcare, and we feel Jefferson Health offers the best care. We're putting our money where our mouth is by having this continual development of our nursing workforce. The Nurse Leader Accelerator initiative goes beyond just giving a nurse a degree, giving a leader an advanced degree. It's more about creating a unified leadership culture across Jefferson, that we have one vision, and our nurse leaders will emerge from this program prepared to lead with clarity, with empathy, but most importantly, with strategic foresight. We're having them work on intractable problems that face nurses on a daily basis, and we're equipping them with systems thinking and innovation mindset and policy fluency that are needed to address workforce challenges and improve patient care on a large scale. We think that these positive assets that will come out of these leaders will really ripple throughout our health system. We're already planning for the next cohort of nurses. It makes a dean's heart proud that our health system leaders in nursing really believe in the programming that we have to offer. Nurses have to engage in lifelong learning, and whether you're an advanced practice nurse on a clinical trajectory like a nurse anesthetist or a nurse practitioner, whether you want to develop the next generation of nurses, a nurse academician, nurse faculty, but a nurse leader, I'm proud to say that we can help you on your nursing journey to really actualize your goals.
What kind of message would you like to share with future, current, or even retired nurses?
As a nurse, in order to live the mission that we live at Jefferson, which is we improve lives, you have to continually invest in yourself. Your journey is not over when you graduate, even with each degree. Investing in yourself, whether it be in formal academic programming, but also in continuing education. Jefferson is a learning organization, so there's always an opportunity to learn. That is not only investing in yourself, but it's investing in your future, and it's investing in our patients. So to be a lifelong learner is something to be very proud of, and the best thing that you can do for yourself.
Dean Marino closes with a message for National Nurses Week.
I wish everyone out there an incredible Nurses Week. Take pause and celebrate all that you do to improve patients' outcomes, to improve the communities that we serve. And we certainly at the Jefferson College of Nursing, and on behalf of Kate Fitzpatrick as well, wish you the sincerest congratulations.
To learn more about this and other Jefferson stories, please visit jefferson.edu/news. Today's interviews were conducted by Brian Hickey with production support from Dan Bernstein. Thank you for listening.